Hey everybody, it's Allie, the Canine Nutritionist from Padfoot Palms, Poodles, and Pals, and we are back, and we are live, and we are doing it Friday night. Woo, woo. I know you didn't come for the dancing, but I'm here to dance for you. I know you thought we were going to talk about dogs, but really, I'm here to dance. Hey, Chloe's here. Hello! Thank you for joining. Okay, great. So I've got the list of questions up here. I'm just getting the ball rolling. I sent out our reminder. So I am not one to dilly-dally at the beginning of these. So if somebody will just drop me a comment down in the comment section so I know that they're working, just in case somebody has a question. I want to make sure I can see those. Facebook Live is not always... Hey, Chloe said, hi, Allie, love your content. Thank you. I love you. Okay, great. So comments are working. Chloe, thank you for that. So let's just jump right in. And then as people join, they'll ask questions. Of course, now the dogs are going to start barking. Hey, Megan. Hello. We're live. All right, hang on, guys. Of course, I want you to know they've all been sleeping and silent for at least 30-45 minutes, but now that I'm live, they're gonna be barking. You know what? I bet you I'm getting a delivery. I bet you that's what it is. Megan said, yay for being live. Hey, Angela's here. Hello. Hey. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. I'm gonna give them a minute to stop barking. I'm sorry, guys. Apparently, the dog treats that I ordered have decided that now is a good time to deliver. So the dogs are like, hey, somebody just put a package on the porch. And they're freaking out. Okay, so as always, I've got my list of questions that came from the group. If you have a question or if something comes up, just drop it in the comments for me and I will definitely get to it for you. So we're just going to jump right in and hope that they stop barking soon, right? That's like dog mom life. You just got to roll with it. Hey, Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for coming. Okay, we're going to jump into it. So the first question that I got, says, I have a Pom that will eat his crunchy food but does not like any of the wet food I've gotten him. So I assume that this crunchy food loving Pomeranian, I'm assuming that you're trying to get more moisture into his diet. So one of the things that you can do, and it's actually kind of fun. So I find that dogs who don't like wet food, or they have texture sensitivities, or maybe they're missing some teeth, or maybe they've just recently had surgery, I find that those dogs do really well if you take bone broth and then either freeze it and let them lick it, right? So you've tricked them into thinking it's a solid. Or if you mix it with gelatin, like just plain gelatin, not Jell-O, gelatin. And then you can either give it to them in that kind of Jell-O form, if they like that texture, or you can either do that and then freeze it, right? So you've turned it into Jell-O, now you've frozen it, and it puts like this outer crunchy layer on it. You can do them in little ice cubes. You can get all sorts of little silicone molds. Anastasia said, nice to see you after so long. Yes, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so glad you made it. So if you're trying to get the moisture level of their food up, I would definitely give that a try. And you can get just plain gelatin, super cheap, at any grocery store, Walmart, it's everywhere. It'll be like either in the baking section or in the Jell-O section. So definitely give that a try. The other thing you can do is, if it's a texture issue, you can incorporate more fruits and vegetables into your dog's diet. So again, they're getting that satisfaction of chewing something up, but it also has a high moisture content. Like for my dogs, I like to get a head of romaine and just pull leaves off. Some people will get like a whole head of lettuce and let their dog just tear it up and go to town and have a great time. Lettuce is, high in moisture. Cucumbers are another really good option. Squash, zucchini, although sometimes depending on how ripe the squash and zucchini is, the skin can be kind of tough. So you may want to steam it for a little bit before you give it to them. But yeah, but if the goal is more moisture in the diet, get that fresh food in there. And the other thing to keep in mind, I know that you said they don't like any wet food. Sometimes it can be an issue of which wet food you're using. So for example, if you've got something that's more of a pate style, your dog may not like that. Whereas if you switched it up and went with something that's more like chunks of meat and vegetables and like a gravy, they might like that style of wet food better. So you might just have to play around with it and see, do some trial and error and see what your dog likes. Hi, Joy. Hi, Donna. Hi, Anita. Thank you guys so much for coming. Okay. I won't be able to say hi to everybody, but I like to try to catch people as they come in. So if you just joined in, no worries. We're jumping right into it. So if you have a question, just drop it down in the comments for me, and I will definitely grab it for you. Okay. So next up, we had any chance there would be talk about budget-friendly, healthy options? Absolutely. So you gave me kind of wide parameters there. So I decided to focus on specifically treats. And the key to saving money with treats is buy when everything's on sale. For example, I know I posted it in the group and I think somebody else did too. Vital Essentials has been almost on like a 3-month cycle of doing this 60% off sale. And you just got to think outside the box. So don't just think of treats as treats. That's what the bag is labeled. It says treats, right? Or what you would traditionally think of as treats. So I will actually get a freeze-dried food, like a full, complete and balanced food, or a jerky style food. You can get it a much bigger bag, much better price. Then on top of that, if you're trying to get it when it's on sale, order in bulk when it's on sale, right? So even like, for example, the Vital Essentials, they did one, it was just cat food. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I don't have any cats. Love cats, allergic to them. No cats here. I buy cat treats all the time. When they go on clearance, when they go on sale, when companies decide, hey, we're going to do 60% off, I will, if the only options left are freeze-dried cat treats, as long as it's not like a little tiny bag, I will absolutely get them. So this last round with Vital Essentials, the only thing they had were the freeze-dried patties. Well, I don't particularly care for those. For my dogs, I feel like it doesn't matter how much I rehydrate them. Their stools are just kind of dry, which can happen very often with freeze-dried foods. Hey, Jessie's here. Hey, Jessie! Allison's here. Hello! Oh my goodness, we got so many people tonight. So, a great way to save money is don't limit yourself to just buying treats. Buy a bag of food, right? And then use it as treats. That's a really great option for training. Vital Essentials, they do those little nibs that are really small, perfect for training, especially puppies because they're high in protein, but they don't have a lot of fat, so less likely to cause digestive upset. So yeah, so those are some good options. But we'll talk more about budget-friendly, healthy options in different categories as we go on. I've actually got queued up to do a YouTube video about it. So, and I'll give you guys some links and examples. So, but that was a great question. Okay. All right, let me see. Do we have any questions? No questions so far. Okay, great. We'll just keep going at it. All right, the next one was gut health. That was literally her question. Gut health. That was it. That's all she gave me. I don't remember who you are, but if you leave me a broad topic like that and you don't narrow it down, I will talk your ear off. You don't understand. Friends and family are like, do not talk to Allie about dogs. Please. Anyway, it sounds like Sue's just came home, so that's why the dogs are barking. Okay, so gut health. Again, we're just going to take this broad. Ideally, if you can feed a biologically appropriate diet, right? So we're talking about raw food, we're talking about cooked food, not kibble. That would be ideal. But let's just take a moment to be real with each other right now. Times are tough, right? So we can't all afford to feed our dogs 100% raw 100% of the time, right? So it can be challenging. If that's the case and you're doing, let's say, kibble and, maybe you're incorporating some more moisture-rich products like broth, kefir, cottage cheese, whatever it is you're doing, you incorporate as much fresh food as you can. And that's how you do right by your dog. So specifically, you want to make sure that if you are doing any pre or probiotics, that you're not doing the same thing every month over and over again. We have been programmed. Okay, now we're getting into the conspiracy theory. We've been programmed by commercial products, right? Brand loyalty, like they really drive it home. So we have a tendency to find a product that works for us, right? Or our pets. And then we use that same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Specifically when it comes to prebiotics and probiotics, you really don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you are rotating brands and strands. And what I mean by that is you're rotating brands, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. Try to find something new every time. And strands, specifically with probiotics, you want to be looking at what are those live active cultures that are in that container and how many are there. And I know that sometimes it can be confusing or overwhelming or even just close to impossible to figure out what's actually in the bottle with all that small print that they put on there. But if you get a chance, go to a company's website, look at what specific strands they say that they have on there. There was somebody who posted in the group just a few days ago, and they were asking about a probiotic, and they were like, hey, is this a good one? And I was like, I never heard of that one before. So I went and I looked at it and I looked it up, and it had 2 live culture strands, and the bottle was like $50. Okay, so the one that I usually recommend to people is readily available on Amazon. It has 7, and it's like $20. So you really have to be careful that you're looking at what you're getting, right? Because especially when it comes to supplements, there are very, very few regulations when it comes to that. So they can make a lot of different claims, right? But you want to make sure that you're rotating brands and strands. Just remember that, brands and strands. Chloe said, that's how my family is when I talk about dogs. I can talk about them all day, every day. Yeah, see, that's my life. I'm right there with you. Okay, great. Okay, so Rotation is key, fresh food is key, and you do as much as you can. But that one of those key things, rotation. Don't just get in the habit of doing the same thing over and over and over again. Branch out there. Okay, Anastasia said, how often should I Sparky a probiotic? I'm hoping Sparky's the dog. So you can give probiotics every day if you want to, especially if you're doing a rotation that's every 30 days and you're switching it up. You can also do a schedule where you're doing 30 days on, then take 2 weeks off, then put them on a different brand, right? Try to buy, if you're buying it in pill form, try to buy the smallest bottle that you can. Go through that bottle, right? Use it so that you can use it up and try something else. And the other thing with probiotics is you can incorporate some fresh food options like sauerkraut, kefir. If your dog is sensitive to lactose, like me and mine, there is water kefir that's available. You can even make it yourself. So you can ferment your own veggies. I know Dr. Karen Becker has a video that shows you how to do a very simple, straightforward. Anastasia said Sparky is my dog. I love it. She has a video on doing fermentation. I actually just recently got a really big glass jar so I can do some fermentation videos for us. So definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, if your dog is, if you're just doing it as a preventative, right? Get crazy with it. Variety, mix it up, right? Just don't get stuck in that rut of doing the same thing over and over and over again. Okay. Next question. Okay, tips for making your own food at home and how to convince family to let you. I have an overweight dog that I want to make food for, but our budget is tight. For context, she's 22 pounds, almost 8 years old, and a Dachshund. Okay, so let's start off with, first of all, talking to family, because I know this can be challenging, especially for our younger viewers, right? You're living at home with your parents, right? It's hard to get them going. I was helping an individual the other day who is an adult, but she lives with an elderly family member who's not on board. So I know sometimes dealing with family can be challenging. The best thing that you can do is sit them down and talk to them and say, hey, this is important and let me tell you why, right? So our 8-year-old Dachshund is 22 pounds. That's a very chubby wiener, okay? That's not good on those little legs. You know, those little chubby legs? We love them and they're so cute and you smell them and they smell like Fritos and we love the little toe beans. That's not good for those little legs, right? You can't run if your legs are only this big and you weigh 22 pounds, right? So we're limiting the dog's quality of life because they can't move the way that they should. Another thing, breed specific, when Dachshunds are overweight, it's very hard on their spine because their bodies are long and they are prone to spine issues anyway. So you definitely want to talk to them about, being on board with getting your dog healthy. Now, the other tactic that works really well with family is if you relate it to people. So if you are in a situation where you need a specialized diet, right? As a human, you go to the doctor, you go to a nutritionist, and they will give you a diet plan. They'll say, hey, we've run these tests, or we've done this, or, here's what we need to do. Here's your diet plan. And I actually have one of those diet plans, a weight loss plan, in the files section of the group. So you could even print that out or show it to them. And then just say, hey, if this was something that I needed to do for me, the nutritionist would say, hey, you got to lose weight. Here's what you need to do. This is going to be hard on your little tiny legs, right? So it's the same for your dog. It's actually worse for the dog because they're so much smaller, and even being just 3 or 4 pounds overweight at that size, it's very, very hard on their joints. So relate it to something with humans. Great way to relate with family, right? Bring them on board. Talk about the dog's quality of life, right? And then if you can, if you're in a situation, hi Susan, if you're in a situation where you can take responsibility for that dog and that dog's care, right? So for example, you're saying you want to make homemade food, then say, hey, I know this is going to be extra work, but I've watched these videos that Allie made on how to make homemade food. I've got a complete and balanced recipe, right? So the dog's getting all of the nutrients that they need, and I'm going to take this over. This is my project. My goal is to get our dog healthier in 60 days. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the food. I'm going to make the grocery list. You know, especially if you're a younger individual, right? You live at home with parents. Take the work out of it for them. Here's the list of items that we need. Here's how much beef we need. Here's how much broccoli we need, right? Make it easy for them. Hey, mom, you're going to the grocery store. Here's what I need. And then make the food, once you get them on, assuming you get them on board, make the food in batches, right? And really stay on top of it. And I have found through helping many young individuals that if you take responsibility, if you're consistent and you don't mess up, right? Don't let the dog all of a sudden not have food, right? Because that'll make your family members mad. So stay on top of it. I find that most parents are willing to at least give it a try. And you can even say, for those who are really reluctant, you can say, look, we're going to try this for 2 weeks. Let's just see what happens. We're going to weigh the dog. We're going to try it for 2 weeks. We're going to do Allie's weight loss plan, and we're going to see if there's a difference. And if in 2 weeks there's a difference, then I'm making a pledge here that I'm going to stay on top of it. I'm going to make it happen. And most family members will be on board. Now, I think you mentioned budget is tight. So 2 things are working in your favor. 1, your dog is an adult. Fantastic. So you're already looking at a much simpler recipe in the files. 2, your dog is small. What you're going to do is you're actually going to feed the amount based off of what your dog should weigh, not what they weigh now. And this is part of what you have to do. You have to actually measure that food out. So often, especially, and I blame kibble for this, so often we're just dumping food in a bowl, right? But if your pet is on a weight loss journey, you have to measure that food. You have to know how much you're giving them. Now, once you've kind of been at it for a couple of weeks, you can get the hang of it and you can kind of eyeball it and see how much they need. But to start with, you're really going to have to weigh that out. And you're going to have to stay on top of it. So, okay, so convince family, overweight dog, budget. Okay. I think that covers everything. My fingers are crossed for you that your family is on board. If you have challenges, then post again, let me know. We'll come up with a new plan to get family on board. I know it can be challenging, especially when a budget is involved, but the weight loss recipe that's in the files is a good one. And Dr. Karen Becker's recipe, which is even shorter, should not be super expensive. Like, I'm talking, you skip a trip to Starbucks. Like, it shouldn't be bad. I think her recipe has like 4 or 5 ingredients, and one of them is a supplement, or maybe 2 of them are supplements. Don't quote me on that. It's been a long time since I looked at it. Ashley said, I missed your live so much. Me too. Me too. But we're getting back on board, right? We're going to hit the ground running. I've committed to doing at least 1 a week, but my goal is to get that up to 2 to 3 times a week. So, we'll just see how it goes. But I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So, once a week, right? And then we're going to build up to it. You and me. Okay. It's saying reconnect. Am I reconnected? I hope so. I'm sorry, guys. My dad tried to call me. Dad, I know you're going to watch this on the replay. That was terrible timing. Okay? Get it together. I'm just kidding. I'll call him back here in a little bit. Okay. So, okay. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, we got that one. All right. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions. Barb said, happy to see you again. Love your hair. Thank you. I'm happy to see you again too. Oh, my dad just texted me. He said your dog food arrived. Thanks, Dad. So, yeah. Hey, Barb, we're going to be doing a lot more of these lives. So I'm happy to see you. I'm happy that you're happy to see me, because there's going to be a lot more of me. More of me going around. That didn't sound right, but you know what I mean, right? I love you. Okay. Let's see what Chloe said. This was my question. Oh, Chloe, this was your question. Oh, good. I'm glad you're here. I wasn't thinking, and I didn't write down people's names, so I don't remember who asked it. Okay. I'm 19 and I live with my family still because I have a physical disability. Love you. I also have another dog that's actually at a healthy weight. Okay, good. Should I take him off kibble too? If so, could I feed the same food, just more quantity? Okay, so could you send me the Dr. Karen Becker recipe? Yes. And it's in the files, but yes, I can send it to you. Just remind me after I jump off the live so I don't forget. So let's start at the top. Should I take him off kibble too? That depends. If the other dog in the household who's at a healthy weight is a much bigger dog and you're looking at budgetary constraints, then no. Right? Because it's going to be much harder to have your family be on board if you're feeding a big dog and a little dog, right? That's going to triple your budget. So if the budget is the main concern for them, then I would just stick to your Dachshund and getting him at a healthy weight. He's the same breed. Okay. So that, again, it just depends on what the budget is and how flexible they're willing to be. Can you put them both on the same food? Yes. If you use Dr. Karen Becker's recipe, it'll be very easy. You're just going to feed your healthy weight Dachshund, as you should, right? As an adult, you're looking at 2.5-3% of body weight per day. Your overweight Dachshund, you're going to be looking at 2% per day. And you're going to want to be feeding them based on the weight that they should be. And I don't want you to guess at that number. So if you need help figuring out what those numbers should be, just send me a private message and I can do the math for you. And don't guess about, what your overweight Dachshund's weight should be, right? We want to make sure it's achievable. We don't want him, like walking down the runway, like, whoa, what happened? Your Dachshund's a Victoria's Secret model. What's going on? So can you put them both on the Yes, you can. And it'll be very easy with the Dr. Becker recipe. With my weight loss turkey recipe, We'll just have to do a little bit of tweaking, but I can help you with that. It's not hard. But yes, basically what you'll do is feed the healthy weight dog more. So yeah, but it's just going to depend on what's going to work for you. I would say get the family on board first, then work out the details like, hey, we're going to do it for both dogs, right? Or you could even do, if you want to do it for both dogs, you can get them like 50% kibble, 50% fresh, but then you're going to get into a lot of different measurements. So just, if it starts to get too complicated or your family is getting overwhelmed, then just keep it simple. Just do the one dog, have the one budget, right? And get him on track. And then once he's on track, right, then we can get both dogs eating the same thing. Okay, great. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. Tips for a nervous dog. Oh, I'm sorry, a very nervous dog. He's scared of almost everything. Poor puppy. Used to be just thunderstorms or loud noises. Now it's rain, a plastic bag. He seems to always just be scared. Okay, so I'm going to assume, for the sake of our interaction here, that this is an adult dog. If this is a puppy, then I'll have to get some more information about, how old is this puppy, and try to figure out, is this puppy in a fear stage, right? Because puppies go through various fear stages where they can be fine, and then all of a sudden they're scared of everything, and then you just kind of coax them through it, and then they're fine again. So for the sake of this, I'm going to assume we're talking about an adult dog. CBD for dogs is a great option, especially if your dog is just a little bit jumpy, a little bit nervous, because it takes a little while to build up in their system, but it can kind of take the edge off for them so that they can relax. And then when you couple that with some exposure training in very small increments with lots of treats and high praise, you can slowly transition them into being more confident. And then as they become more confident, you reward that behavior. So, oh, Angela said adult, almost 9 years. Oh, Angela, is this your question? Okay, great. Great. So it is an adult. Okay, good. So CBD for dogs. You're going to want to look at a quality CBD. I know that it's been mentioned quite a few times in our group, so just do a search for CBD, and there are a couple of different options. The only company I ever used was SunMed, and they actually do CBD for humans, but they also have a line for pets, so they have treats, they have drops, I think they have a powder or something that you can mix into their food. Don't quote me on that. And it worked very well. So that's a good option. And then slowly introducing those sounds that make them nervous. And I'm going to go with thunderstorms because that's my favorite. Angela said, yes, my question. Great. I love when people ask questions and then they're here for the answer. It works out great. Okay. So we're going to start with thunderstorms because this one is fairly easy in my opinion. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a sound machine off of Amazon or Goodwill, whichever is your pleasure, Walmart. You're going to get one of those ones that has thunderstorms, crickets chirping, right? What are some of them? Rainforest, right? All of those. And you're going to set it up in a room that you're not in, right? So let's say you're working during the day, you're in your office, your dog's, at your feet. You're going to set it up in the living room, right? So it's far away from you, but I can assure you your dog can still hear it. And at a very low volume, you're going to turn on the thunderstorms and rain. I think rain was the other one you had mentioned. And you're just going to let it play very softly in the other room. You don't even need to be able to hear it. Your dog can hear it. So very softly in the other room. And then you're going to leave that room. You're going to go into your office or wherever, your bedroom in your home, and bring your dog, encourage them to lay next to you on their little bed, give them a chew toy, give them a bone, give them a stuffed trachea, give them a new toy, anything that you know what your dog likes. Give them something new, something to distract them. Get them to lay down close to you or on their bed, like I have a little dog bed over in the corner here. And then just let them be distracted while the sounds are playing. And you're going to leave it on, assuming that your dog's not having a total meltdown. You're going to leave it on all day. Very, very low volume. As a matter of fact, the volume is so low that you're probably going to forget about it, and that's okay. Now, if your dog is having a total meltdown and they're freaking out about the sounds, then let's do it. Let's see if we can get them into the other room, right, away from the sound, with their treat. See if you can get them distracted. If you can, that's success. And as long as they are distracted, you're good. If they get to a point where they become nervous again, then go ahead and go turn it off. And we're going to do a little bit at a time every day. And it's hard for me to gauge, right? Because I don't know your dog and I don't know how extreme it is. So it just depends on how much, where their tolerance is. So you're just going to do a little bit at a time. If they have a total meltdown every time you turn it on, you're definitely going to want to look at CBD and see if, and you'll have to get the CBD built up in their system, right? You can't just give it, and it's not like a medication where you give it and it immediately starts working. You'll have to give it for like a week or so. So go the CBD route, then try again. If you can make progress with the thunderstorms, if they will go into the other room and be distracted, maybe the next day you turn it up a little bit, just a little bit. And if you're committed to doing that every day, then you will see an improvement by the time the next thunderstorm rolls around. But the key is you have to work on it before that next storm, right? And we can't control the weather, so you just have to do the best you can. But you have to work on it when it's not storming. And what you're going to do is you're going to build up that tolerance level. So if you go out to your living room, you turn on the thunderstorm sounds, and let's say you've got it turned up to a pretty good level. You can hear it in the other room, and your dog is doing well. They're distracted with their chew on their bed. Then the next time you have a storm, you're going to do that exact same thing. It's storming outside. You're going to bring your dog to, your office or wherever where that bed is, and you're going to do the exact same thing. Hey, okay. And I tell my dogs, I don't know if any of you follow Bunny, the doodle on TikTok, where she has all the little buttons and she's working with researchers to like teach dogs to speak. One of the things that they taught her is big rain, right, for a thunderstorm. And so I actually started telling my dogs, because where I live, it rains constantly. And so I tell them, big rain. And then we get the treats out. And so now they've started to associate, it's storming outside, we're going to get something yummy. Right? So that's kind of what you're building up to. And you're going to let your dog set the pace. And just choose one sound to start with. So, right, so start with the thunderstorm sound. So let's say you don't have a sound machine yet. The other one you listed was plastic bag. This is a big one. Oh, she commented. Hang on. I sleep with the rain sound machine every night and it doesn't bother him. Great. Real storms. Okay, sure. Seems like only live noises or changes in his environment. Okay. He's shaking right now because there's a plastic bag on the floor making a noise, but he's eyeing that bag like it's going to eat him. And he doesn't play with any toys. He's scared of them too. Okay. So has he always been this way, or is this a new set of behaviors? That would be my next question. And you said he's 9 years old. How are his eyes? Like, if you look at his eyes, are they cloudy at all? While I wait for her to respond. The reason why I'm asking these questions is because as dogs age, right, they can get cataracts, and it can be challenging for them because they don't see as well as they used to. The bag is making no noise, getting worse always. No clouds in his eyes. Okay. Interesting. I would say start with the CBD, and you could even start with the bag if you want to start with that, because it sounds like the sound machine, if it's just rain, that may not work since you have one and it doesn't seem to faze him. The other thing you can do is you can get on YouTube and you can look up a sound of something specific. Like, there was a dog one time I was helping a lady, and he would have a total meltdown if there were construction sounds. It scared him so bad. And I told her, I was like, get on YouTube, look up construction sounds, and just, again, use the same tactic. And you try to desensitize them to that sound. The other thing you could do with the bag is kind of sit down on the floor with the bag, hold the bag, maybe crumple it up small if it's like a grocery bag or something, or even get a grocery bag so it is smaller if it's a bigger bag, and have it real small in your hands so it's not so scary. And just hold it, touch it. Anytime your dog comes, if you can coax them over to it, give them a treat. So that might be some things to try. But yeah, but that CBD might be enough to kind of take the edge off. So I would start with that. But I know that's tough when they're scared all the time. So I feel for you. But just make sure that you have some treats on hand. And anytime he's showing any bravery, confidence, investigating something new, you want to praise him. Yeah, you're very welcome. Keep me posted. Let me know how it goes, because we might need to throw in some other tactics to see if we can get him some help. Okay, I have a question. My Palm Luna has some anal glands issue recently. She keeps chewing on her tail and her rear smells fishy. Besides expressing for her, which I'm not really good at, are there any supplements to help the anal glands to function normally so that fluids don't get trapped in there? She's on a freeze-dried diet. Okay, so first thing is I do not recommend that people express anal glands by themselves. I don't even like for groomers to do it. I understand that they do, but it's really something that your vet should be doing if there's an issue, because it can be an indicator of something else. And not to be gross, but a vet is going to be much more familiar with, hey, there's a cyst here, or hey, there's a blockage here, or hey, you see what I'm saying? So not to be gross, but when you're talking about butts, it's kind of hard not to. So as far as a supplement, it's kind of a two-part thing that I would recommend. So if she's on a freeze-dried diet, those tend to be high in protein, high in fat, low in fiber. when it comes to anal glands, if you're having issues, you really want to increase that fiber. Now, assuming that she doesn't have some sort of allergy or other mitigating factor as to why you're feeding a freeze-dried diet, then I would recommend switching to something that has more fiber. If you want to keep her on the food that she's eating, for whatever reason, like I said, allergies, something like that, then you definitely want to look at getting more fiber into her diet. So we're looking at adding some fibrous veggies to every meal, to treats, right? Giving them as treats. And you may even want to consider adding rehydrated psyllium husk to the diet to increase the fiber. Now, there are supplements that you can buy on the market. I think there's one that's called like Good Poos or something like that. They all have ridiculous names. And basically that's what they are. But they'll have a bunch of other garbage ingredients in them. So I would much rather you start with changing the diet or increasing the fiber, you know, before you go getting a supplement like that that's, you know, got a bunch of other garbage in it. But yeah, basically that's what we need to do. One really great way to increase the firmness of the poo, I guess you could say, is to incorporate some raw meaty bones. And depending on the size of your dog, this is for a Pomeranian, you could be looking at chicken necks, turkey necks, you know, chicken or turkey wings, duck heads, duck wings, duck feet, chicken feet, right? I could go on and on and on. There's a list in the files if you're looking for some ideas, and it's broken out based on the size of your dog. That can be a really great way to increase the firmness factor of poo, right? Which is what helps those glands express themselves. But yeah, so that kind of gives you some ideas to get you started. But if you can switch to a higher fiber diet or get those fibrous veggies in there, you'll start seeing a difference immediately. So, and when in doubt, do not let things sit with anal glands. Like, go and get it checked out by your vet. So, okay, good. Oh, side note, the tail chewing, that makes me a little bit nervous. I would have your vet check that, because I don't normally hear that when it comes to anal gland issues. So that may be separate. It may not be related. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay. Let me see if we got any questions. We're good. Okay. We're just going to keep going down the list. All right. Feeding toy poodle puppies. They are 11 weeks old. You didn't give me a lot to go on here, so I'm going to give you some basic parameters here. So I would avoid chicken and lamb if you can help it. I know that that's very challenging because a lot of puppy foods on the market are chicken based, and then the next variety is usually lamb. So I would try to avoid those two if you can, because they can cause the dogs to have, you know, to build up and create an allergy to those proteins. And also, especially with poodles, I find that lamb specifically, they just tend to have more issues. And I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but it just doesn't work well for them. So if your dog can tolerate it, great. But for some reason with poodles, I find that a majority of them do not do well on lamb. Certainly not long term. So these are toy poodle puppies. So you're probably going to be feeding something that's smaller pieces. And as a reminder, I recommend that you don't just feed them things that are small pieces. And people with toy breeds and specifically breeders, they can get themselves kind of pigeonholed into just giving their teeny tiny puppies or their teeny tiny dogs only small items to eat, right? They cut, their food as small pieces, they cut up their treats as small pieces, and that can actually create a problem where you find that these toy breeds, they start getting really finicky and they won't eat anything that's above a certain size. So I know specifically this question was asked by a breeder. So I would highly recommend that if you're feeding something that has a small size, because they're puppies, to incorporate some other larger items into their diet, right? Give them a chicken neck. Especially what's really great for puppies is if you do like a frozen or a semi-frozen chicken neck, and just let them work on it for maybe 15, 20 minutes, right? They don't need to eat the whole thing, but it kind of gives them that learning experience of, oh, this is what it's like to tear meat off of something. This is what it's like to chew and turn something, in my paws. So give them that kind of variety at a young age so they're exposed to it. There are a lot of puppies that are only ever given kibble, and then they go to their new home and they're like trying to eat everything under the sun. Cables, cords, books, tables, chairs, right? Because all they've ever been exposed to is little diamonds of, cereal, which is essentially what kibble is. So give them some variety. Give them a trachea that's too big for them, right? And get ones that are too big on purpose so that they've got some variety. Plus, it'll make them happy. Give them something to do. So yeah. So that was the feeding toy poodles. We don't have any questions. All right, I'm going to keep going down the list. Okay. This one is a raw-fed dog. He gets Shroom Immune Blend Powder, Joint Powder, Super Snouts, Dog Company, love that company. Goat's milk, raw freeze-dried treats like minnows, chicken hearts, beef liver, sprat, that's all fantastic. He recently decided he didn't like his current flavor, so we added packets of Nulo brand sardine/chicken flavor pouches until you could swap the proteins again, okay? He has been sneezing like crazy, and I thought this question was very interesting. So they've gone to the vet. There's no itching, there's no rash. Is it pollen? Is it the packets? They give Benadryl. I'm not a huge fan of Benadryl. What's with the sneezing? Vet looked for nose mites. There's nothing in there. Okay. So let's take it from the top. She said she stopped the giving the packets, which is good. Usually, when it comes to sneezing, it's related to something either outside, right? Or it's something in your home. It can be food related. Most of the time, it's not. So we'll just run down the list, and you have to apply these questions to everyone in your home. So if you recently had Nana came to visit, right? And she wears a lot of perfume, or she uses a different detergent, right? Okay, we need to look at that because that could be a culprit. So perfumes, cleaning products, anything that gets sprayed into the air, cologne, perfume, air freshener, people do those wax melts, essential oils, any of that can cause issue. So we need to make sure we're not doing any of that. Have you used a new cleaning product? For example, did you wash the dog's bed in a new detergent? Or maybe we haven't washed the dog's bed in a very long time. I had this happen with one lady where the dog was just constantly sneezing and they couldn't figure out what it was. Had him on all these medications. Poor dog was drugged to the nines. Dog was miserable, sneezing all the time. And as it turns out, they had just purchased a new dog bed. She had washed it, but apparently whatever the foam was in that dog bed, right, because they use terrible products to make dog products, whatever was in it, the dog was just like having a sneezing fit. So I told her, I was like, throw it away. The whole thing. Don't try to salvage any of it. Don't try to replace the foam. No, just take the whole thing, throw it away, clean the area really well that the dog bed was sitting in. And within 3 days, the dog stopped sneezing. So if you can find whatever it is, another lady, her dog was getting down into her basement and hunting bugs. And because he was hunting the bugs, right, he's sniffing up all this dust, and then all day long he's sneezing, and the vet's like, I can't explain it. He's sneezing all the time. Let's pump him full of drugs. Well, it turns out he was going down into her basement while she was down there, and he was sniffing around, eating bugs, and he was just taking in all this dust. And there's nowhere for it to go. The other thing I wanted to mention is if you are doing dairy products, I think you mentioned goat's milk, I would cut those out for now. You can always start them back up later. But dairy increases inflammation and phlegm production, so let's go ahead and cut that out. Anything dairy, goat's milk, cheese, anything, go ahead and cut that out. So yeah, I would just look very closely at everything in the house. Is there anything new that's brought in? There was one lady who she had just bought a new couch, and then her dog's nose was like wigging out, and it was the couch. So yeah, so I would just go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. If you have children, are they spraying things in the air, right? Whatever the case may be. Do you have a new body wash? Did you get something on sale, right? I mean, I could just keep going and going. So yeah, I would be willing to bet it's something in the environment. So, okay. Looks like Angela commented. Okay, her mom has a question. 9 pounds, 10-year-old Maltese barks the entire time he's home alone. He's left in his playpen. He had a bed, toys, potty pad. He barks the entire time, 10 minutes or a few hours. How do we help him not to bark? So that one's more challenging. I would look at some YouTube videos and look into separation anxiety and see what they recommend. So you could give the dog something like a wobble or a puzzle that's got food in it, something that's high value that they want, and you give it to him and he only gets it in the playpen. I would be willing to bet the only time he's in this playpen is when everybody's leaving. And so he's associating this playpen with jail, right? And he's like, I want out of jail. And the only time he's in jail is when everybody's gone. So put him in the playpen while you guys are there, right? Mom, while you're there. Put him in the playpen, give him the high value treat, get a lick mat. And you can put pumpkin puree, get some lunch meat, right? Put little pieces. You could even do a little bit of cheese. I don't recommend you do that all the time, but it needs to be high value, right? And then freeze the lick mat with all the goodies on it and only give it to him in the playpen. And you're still home, right? You're not leaving. So say, hey, do you want a treat? Yeah, Mom, I want a treat. Put him in the playpen, give him the lick mat, walk away. And see if that's enough to start a new behavior. And then the key is to get him out before he starts barking. And you're just going to keep doing that. It stays open and he plays in there when he wants. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like it's more separation related then. Yeah. It's going to be tough because he's 10 years old. So if he's been at this for a while, he's like, Mom, come back. I'm here. Do not leave. Not food motivated. Refuses all food. Okay. That's a tough one. If he's not food motivated, that would be very limiting. So I would bring in a behaviorist or a dog trainer to help you from there. Because that's a little bit further out of my expertise. If they're food motivated, I can help you all day. But if they're not food motivated at all, then you'll have to use some different tactics, which is outside of my expertise. But it can be done. It can be done. And I have a dog who barks when I leave. So I get it. If you live in an apartment or you live close to people, it can be frustrating. So definitely look into getting with a trainer. And now a lot of trainers, they do remote sessions. So for things like this, you can show them the behavior, right? Since this is not like, the dog's not aggressive or anything. You can show them the behavior on video, and then they can give you, worksheets and things that you can do to try to help. Ashley brings up a very good point. Tire him out before putting him in the crate. Excellent, Ashley. Yes. Yeah, run him around, get him good and tired. Yes. He may also be a candidate for CBD. So it just depends. If he's barking because he's having anxiety, right? Or if it's attention barking, I want my way, I want out, I want you to come back, right? So, fingers crossed. Good luck. Okay, next up we've got, veggie blend, greens mix-in. I bought one from Koa. Okay, I looked this up. But it has chickpeas in it, and I'm not sure if it's okay. The other brand was super high in calories, and I'm not sure what the right way to go is. Okay, so I looked this up, this Koa greens mixture. It has chickpeas, broccoli, carrots, flaxseed, kelp, kale, celery, parsley, lettuce, watercress, ginger, and spinach. So your first ingredient is chickpeas. I'm not a fan of dogs consuming a lot of legumes, so I personally would not recommend that. If you haven't opened it yet, I would take it back. I would just go ahead and take it back, because this is listed as being $26 on sale for $20. Your dog would be much better off if you took that $20, went to the grocery store and bought broccoli, carrots, kale, kelp, celery, parsley, lettuce, watercress, and then put a little piece of ginger in there and blended it in a blender and froze it and put it in their food, right? So this is, for those of you who don't know, this product is specifically designed to be mixed into canned food. It doesn't make it complete, it's just adding vegetables to it. You can just add those vegetables on your own. These are just literally dehydrated vegetables. Dehydrated mix for wet dog food. So you've taken a lot of the nutrients out of it, and you've taken the moisture content out of it. No need. Take that $20 or $26 that you spent and just go to the store. Get you some veggies, blend them up. Get you one of those choppers that I see all those TikTok and YouTube stars have, right? Where it's like, you know, you smash it and all the pieces come out in the little cubes. Get you one of those, chop it up, stick it, mix it up, stick them in the freezer. You don't even have to spend $20. You could probably get those items for less than $20. $20 worth of all of those vegetables, even with the way prices are today. I mean, it would probably last you way longer than this bag of dehydrated stuff. So, yeah. So if you've opened it, then, and you got it from somewhere where you can't easily return it, then I would say, you know, just go ahead and use it and don't repurchase. If you haven't opened it and you can send it back or take it back, go for it. And then just get you some veggies. Yeah, veggies are one of the greatest and easiest things to add to your dog's diet, no matter what the diet is. Right? I did my grocery shopping yesterday. Broccoli stems. I needed, you know, cut up the broccoli, cut up the cauliflower. I cut off the stems, cut those into little pieces. They went into freezer bags. I throw them in the freezer. And so the next time I'm making like a Kong or a wobble or something, I can just pull those back out and put them right in there, right? All the little pieces of vegetable. So don't fall into that trap of convenience, because your dog is missing out on a lot of really great stuff that you could just be mixing in, right? And when the pieces of the vegetable are so small, if you have them frozen, right, so they don't go bad as fast, they will defrost very quickly if you're mixing it into a canned food. So, okay. Chloe says, I have a similar problem with separation anxiety. My fur babies have free roam of the house 24/7, and when we're gone, they bark and tend to get back into the trash. My dad gets mad at them, but he doesn't understand that what he's doing to fix it is just making it worse. My dogs have never been crate trained, but we do have a couple of baby gates that we use sometimes. So if we're gone for a few days on a trip without them, having someone check on them once a day, they don't really eat the kibble. Is that due to stress? Yes. Yes, it is. And the other thing to keep in mind is for the dog anatomy, eating multiple times a day, every day, is not a requirement. Right? I know that sounds crazy, but there are some people whose dogs actually do better only eating once a day. Some do better eating 3 times a day. Some will fast themselves for a day or 2. But yes, absolutely. Dogs who are under stress, which if you're gone on a trip and they don't know where everybody went, right? That's stressful. They will absolutely not eat. The dogs are playing outside the door. That's funny. But yeah, it's stress related. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it. It's just one of those things that you try to plan for. Like if you know you're going on a trip and you have someone who's taking care of your dogs in your home, then you can do like stuffed tracheas. Try to get them something that's really exciting to keep their mind off things, but make sure that if you're leaving them special treats or chews, that it's only something they have while the person is there checking on the dogs, right? Don't just leave them down all the time unsupervised. We don't want an unintended choking incident. Okay, Elizabeth said it's not open yet. Oh, this was her question. Okay, great. I had a feeling I can't get her to eat any veggies, but I will try blending. Thank you. Okay, yes. One trick that works well for dogs who will not eat a lot of veggies is mix a protein into the veggies. So for example, in one of my videos, I show you can blend like canned sardines and water. You can blend that with your veggies. And it doesn't necessarily have to be completely blended into like a paste. If your dog has texture issues and that's the way they like it, that's fine. But if you can leave it more chunky, but kind of get that fish flavor on everything, again, assuming your dog likes fish, then they will eat the veggies because they're covered in fish. And you can make a lot of headway with getting your dog to eat vegetables like that. So yeah, definitely give that a try. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I am at the bottom of the question list. So let me check our post real quick and make sure we didn't miss any last minute questions. We did not. Okay, guys. All right. I'm going to jump off of here because it's time for dinner. I'm starving. But I'm so glad that you guys joined for the live, and we are going to be having these more often. If you missed earlier, I said that I am committing myself to at least once a week, but my goal is to get it up to 2 to 3 times a week. So I'll be making a post here shortly, looking at for some different time frames. You know, I understand that today may not have worked for a lot of people's work schedule, so we'll get a couple of options going out there so that more people can join. Thank you so much for being here, and if you are watching the YouTube reload of this, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, hang on. Angela made a comment. Hold on, I don't want to miss anything. One thing we do for mine and Mom's pups, we give them a piece of clothing with our scent. Yes, that's definitely helpful. Absolutely. Chloe said, all right, thank you. I'll message you. As for the Dr. Becker recipe, yes, please do message me because I will forget. You're very welcome, Elizabeth. Okay, great. So, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and as always, be kind and rewind.